Well, 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 old Dennis Dodd had to open up his face for the last time. And thanks for watching Numbskull News. And today, we're talking Super League. Super League! We gotta talk Super League again. Because last week, Dennis Dodd dropped an article, and I think he's retiring after that. So that may be his last coup de grace big article. And it was a big, massive article. I may be able to scrape, 2 or 3 videos out of this damn thing. But let's talk Super League. This is what his article was all about. This big change coming to college football. It's not basketball. It's not non-revenue sports. Keep that in mind. We're just talking about football here. What all realignment's been about the whole damn time. Not your market, not your academics, not your prestige. It's been about football. Foosball. Now, before I get into this, there's been several different, as far as in my comments or whatever, there's been several different kinds of Super League thrown out there. Okay, there's one that's been talked about, and it's kind of gained some steam here recently, which is the biggest schools of the SEC, the biggest schools of the Big Ten, the biggest schools of the ACC, and I guess the biggest brands of the Big 12. Who knows who that is? Like, there's 13 schools with about equal kind of brand. So I don't know what you mean there, but whatever, right? So you're going to have this hodgepodge, Frankenstein kind of thing. And I'm sorry, that's a bunch of elitist BS thrown out there. That's not going to happen. The Big Ten isn't going to tear itself apart. Neither is the SEC to make that happen. I think Greg Sankey kind of made that clear a while back ago. Everyone, we don't have to go down to your level, I think is what he said. We don't have to come down to your level. So no, that's not going to happen. Now, there's been another form of Super League people talked about since when all this big realignment stuff kicked off, which is the Big Ten and the SEC totally intact will join forces, go off, play circle jerk somewhere, and form their own league, right? It's more likely that to happen than this hodgepodge thing, which isn't going to happen. So, the Big Ten and the SEC, the likelihood of them just breaking away and doing their thing, it's about a 5% chance. I'll give it 5. There's been enough talk and blah. But the kind of Super League that Mr. Dodd was talking about, it's essentially the Power 4 breakaway. Not just the Big Ten and the SEC, but also the Big 12, also the ACC. Everyone goes to the thing. You remember Project Rudy, right? Something like along the lines of that. Now, I say that has a way bigger chance of happening. Keep in mind, the Super League is only the football teams within those conferences. All the conferences, they don't have to blow apart. They will stay intact. They will stay intact. Now, there's several reasons for doing this. Look at the House case. This is going to affect even the Big 2 conferences. Big time. Big time. And let's go beyond that. He makes the point in the article that college football has twice the viewership of the NBA, but the NBA makes twice the money. See what I'm saying? It was right there in the title of the article, how college football has been undervalued big time. Of course, it's been amateur sports. Regardless, it makes billions, but it's always left billions on the table. And a lot of these old school college football heads that have been running things for years and years within these conferences, they're going to get the old stiff arm. Get the hell out of the way, Grandpa. It's time to go for the money. We got to pay the players. And we don't want to cut a shit ton of our programs. We don't want to go broke. We need to maximize our ability to monetize this sport to pay for everything. So that's why the Dennis Dodd version, the Project Rudy version of Super League has an actual shot of happening. You know, something like where there is multiple tiers. Because I've always asked, I've never been a proponent of Super League because I'm like, are you telling me Texas Tech is going to make what Alabama does? If that's the case, sign me up. But I don't see how that happens. Well, chances are it wouldn't happen because you're going to have different tiers. You're going to have regulation. Your absolute biggest brands are going to stay permanently in the top tier. They will never be relegated. The second, the top tier would be like around $200 million a year. Huge. But there'll be a few spots of that tier that people will be fighting over. Some people will get relegated down to the second tier, and the second tier is $100 million a year. Which again, if you're a Big 12 team, sign me up. Right? And then the third tier, right, the loser tier, the crap tier, is still $60 million a year. Double what the Big 12 currently makes. Again, sign me up. Sign me up. Now, scheduling, I don't know how everything is scheduled. I'm guessing all the non-conference games are going to be filled out from people from all these, only from the Power Four, essentially. And then you'll probably have a conference schedule. I don't know how all that works. I really don't. Forgive me. But another reason to take this seriously, because you have people like Casey Wasserman that's been talking about it, that's in it. You got Mark Lassery, something like that. I don't know. But he's like this freaking heavyweight titan of investing in undervalued sports. And he's been trying like hell to get into college football. As a matter of fact, everybody with billions of dollars in their bank account looking to make investments are looking directly at the second most popular sport in all of America, which is college football. So, with all of these universities needing money, I'm guessing private capital is going to get involved. They're going to get let in the door. The Big Ten are looking at them. Of course, the Big 12 have been looking at them. We got a couple stragglers who are like, I don't know about private capital. Yeah. They'll figure it out eventually. Yeah, there's not going to be any invite from Santa Claus in your stocking this year. Guess what? You're a Big 12 team. So overall, you got huge, and I mean mega huge, freaking influential and wealthy as hell people that are looking at this. They're wanting this to happen. And I know Greg Sankey, we could do it ourselves. How is Greg Sankey going to do it himself? Has anyone asked that question? He's an old school college football guy. He knows jack about what's coming. The pro economics of football. He doesn't know jack about that. He knows the old school way of doing it, screwing over your student athletes. He knows all about that. He doesn't know. He knows how to make a deal with one media company in ESPN. He doesn't know what all this is going to entail. A lot of different media companies, a lot of streamers. It's going to get really complicated. You think Greg Sankey doesn't have the skill or the knowledge for this type of thing at all. He's just an arrogant old prig who knows jack about what's coming. The billions and billions that people are just looking, just cover you with, because they know they'll get paid too. The ROI will be big. What it's really about is old heads like him don't want to lose their power. Well, there's a hell of a lot more powerful people than you coming around. And in case you're wondering why I take this seriously, it's another part of the Dennis Dodd article. The streamers are coming. Netflix, Amazon, Apple, Google. These people have hundreds of billions. I mean, all combined, you're talking trillions of dollars. Like I said, I know right now, like, how is Disney going to pay for this? How is Fox going to pay for this? Oh, they're not going to be paying for it by themselves. No. As a matter of fact, if any one of those streamers wanted to take over all of college football, they got the money to do it. They can outbid every media partner there is currently in the CFB. They can outbid them all. Amazon can absolutely money whip the hell out of everybody and take it all if that's what they wanted. As a matter of fact, I think they're going to end up buying ESPN when it's all said and done. That's my speculation on the business side of things. But when those big streamers get in there, oh, they're going to... Something like this Project Rudy thing? Yeah. They're going to want something like that. Now, you may ask yourself, well, why do they got to include the Big 12 or the ACC? Look, the majority of the eyeballs, I don't even know about the majority. At least half of the eyeballs, though. I would safely say at least half of all the visibility, the viewership of college football resides in the Big 10 and the SEC. But you're still cutting out the other half. Because do you think it's only Ohio State or Michigan fans that watch that rivalry game? It's not. You think it's only Big Ten fans watching that rivalry game? It's not. You think it's just Big Ten and SEC fans watching that rivalry? It's not. It's ACC fans, Big 12 fans, G5 fans, Notre Dame fans that are watching that. That's why it has such massive ratings. Look at all the big SEC matchups you can get. It's not just SEC people watching those games. But I'll tell you what'll happen if it's only the Big Ten and the SEC that break away. Oh, you're going to alienate half the college football audience. You're going to see those big time matchups. Alabama versus Georgia, Texas versus OU, Ohio State versus Michigan. Those ratings will drop significantly. They won't plummet. But they will drop significantly. Because if you cut out everybody else, nobody else is going to watch your sorry ass. Okay? Now, a Power 4 breakaway into a Project Rudy situation, you're still alienating a lot of G5s. You would have to figure out how to work that out. How do we not piss off that group? It's not half. But the G5 fan base, could we say that safely maybe 15-20%? Maybe? Somewhere between 10 and 20%, maybe, of the entire CFB audience. Yeah, that's still a lot of viewership. You know, and these media companies are kind of kind of greedy for that viewership. They don't want to leave anybody out. Remember, Republicans buy shoes too. You don't want to alienate people. You don't want to do like Hollywood did. Alienate half or a little over half of your audience. Sometimes more. Yeah. So, but what do they call it? The Gregorian knot or whatever. It's going to be really difficult to pull this off. But also think about this. I've been saying for a while, as far as a merger between the Big 12 and ACC, the biggest reason to do so, because you would have control of so much content and you would negotiate together. Now imagine it's those two plus the Big 10 and the SEC, and everyone's negotiating their media rights. Everyone's negotiating their sponsorships together. Holy shit. That's what I'm talking about. And you would see the streamers get in a big, big way. These private capital firms know that. They know the value of that. And they want to maximize that value because they're not paying ESPN and Fox and NBC and ABC or any of the other streamers. No, they're paying the conferences, the schools this money so they can get the return on the investment by reaping in all of the profits from all the media partners. All the sponsorships that you can get from something like this. So am I a proponent of it? Kind of, sort of, I suppose. It's the best I can give you. Because is it going to look like Project Rudy? It probably won't. That's probably a pipe dream. So I don't know. You know, there's a lot of power there. And I guess the only reason I kind of like it, because you don't, as far as those 4 conferences, all of a sudden negotiating together, working together from one giant super league, it kind of solves everybody's money problems that is either here or can be here or down the road. Kind of solves that. And it's security. The Big 12 would be secure. The ACC would be secure. The Big 10, the SEC, of course, everyone's locked up together. So that's not necessarily a bad place to be, especially when you're talking Big 12. So, and as long as, you know, you still have 4 distinct conferences, so that way we can talk crap on one another when it's applicable, when it's necessary and when it's appropriate, which is anytime you beat somebody. As long as you have that, I think you're kind of all good. And you have to find a way to throw a bone to the G5 so you don't have a bunch of lawsuits over it. You know, and maybe the ultimate bone you would throw to the G5 would be to help them set up a similar situation, their own Super League with relegation. You know, maybe even their own tournament. That might be kind of cool. That might be kind of cool. And then whoever wins their tournament gets a free pass into ours, maybe. Something like, I don't know. Get creative. Get creative. Think that would be cool. So, that's all I got on this crap. For now, like I said, super long article. So I'll see if there'll be more video fodder later on. Anyway, thanks for watching this crap, and I'll be back with some more crap later. Bye.